There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the greatest battle is not against the world. It is against the voice inside that constantly says, "You are not enough." That quiet voice steals confidence, destroys dreams, and makes people seek approval from everyone except themselves. But today, that cycle ends. Your worth has never been determined by your mistakes, your appearance, your income, your relationships, or other people's opinions. It has always existed within you. The problem is not that you lack value. The problem is that you've forgotten where to find it. Today, you will discover timeless principles that help you stop chasing validation, rebuild your confidence from within, and finally treat yourself with the respect you deserve. These lessons are not temporary motivation. They are a mindset that can transform the way you talk. See yourself every single day. If you truly absorb these ideas and practice them consistently, you may never again question your value. Let's begin. There is a quiet trap that many people fall into without realizing it. They spend years measuring their worth through the opinions of others. A compliment makes them feel confident, while criticism makes them question everything about themselves. They wait for approval before making decisions, hesitate to express their true thoughts, and constantly wonder if they are good enough. This way of living gives away something incredibly valuable, your inner peace. The moment your confidence depends on someone else's validation, you no longer control your own happiness. Instead, you become emotionally tied to the changing moods, expectations, and judgments of people who cannot truly define who you are. The truth is that every person sees the world through their own experiences, beliefs, and limitations. Someone may misunderstand you, underestimate you, or criticize your choices simply because they cannot see the vision that you carry within yourself. That does not reduce your value. A diamond remains a diamond even if someone mistakes it for an ordinary stone. Your worth has never been determined by another person's ability to recognize it. Instead of asking, "Do they approve of me?" begin asking yourself, "Am I living according to my values?" That single shift changes everything. When your actions align with your principles, your confidence becomes steady because it is built on character rather than applause. You stop trying to impress everyone and start becoming someone you genuinely respect. This does not mean ignoring advice or refusing to learn from others. Wisdom can come from anyone, but there is a difference between accepting constructive guidance and allowing opinions to control your identity. Listen with an open mind, yet let your deepest values be the final judge of your decisions. The more you trust yourself, the less you need constant reassurance from the outside world. Real freedom begins the day you stop asking others to tell you who you are and start living as the person you were created to become. Many people believe confidence appears first and discipline follows later. But life works in the opposite direction. You do not become disciplined because you feel confident. You become confident because you practice discipline consistently. Feelings are temporary. Some mornings you wake up full of energy and determination, while on other days you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. If you only act when you feel motivated, your progress will always be inconsistent. But discipline teaches you to move forward regardless of your emotions. It reminds you that your commitments matter more than your moods. Every promise you make to yourself is an opportunity to strengthen your character. It may seem small to wake up when your alarm rings, finish a workout, read a few pages of a book, or complete a task before procrastination takes over. Yet every time you follow through, you send a powerful message to your mind. I can trust myself. That trust becomes the foundation of lasting self-respect. The more evidence you give yourself that you are reliable, the stronger your confidence becomes. Discipline is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. There will be days when you fall short, lose focus, or struggle to keep your routine. What matters is your willingness to begin again without making excuses. Growth is built through consistency, not perfection. Every step forward, no matter how small, shapes the person you are becoming. Instead of chasing motivation, focus on building habits that serve your future. Let your daily actions reflect the life you want to create. Over time, those small choices will produce extraordinary results. You will no longer need to convince yourself that you are capable because your actions will provide undeniable proof. True confidence is earned through repeated effort, quiet persistence, and the courage to keep moving even when no one is watching. That is the kind of confidence that cannot be shaken by failure, criticism, or temporary setbacks, because it is built on the solid foundation of self-discipline. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you possess, yet it is often the easiest thing to give away without realizing it. Every conversation you engage in, every piece of content you consume, and every environment you choose has an effect on your mind. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, criticism, gossip, and endless distractions, your inner strength slowly begins to fade. You may not notice it immediately, but over time your motivation weakens, your confidence declines, and your sense of purpose becomes unclear. That is why protecting your energy is not a luxury. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to live with self-respect and peace. Take a moment to observe what fills your days. Are you spending hours comparing your life to carefully edited images on social media? Are you allowing the opinions of negative people to occupy your thoughts long after the opinions conversation has ended? Are you saying yes to commitments that leave you exhausted simply because you fear disappointing others? Every unnecessary burden you carry drains the energy that could have been invested in your elo, your goals, and your well-being. Protecting your energy begins with becoming intentional about where your attention goes. Choose relationships that encourage honesty, kindness, and growth instead of constant drama. Spend time in places that inspire you to become calmer, wiser, and stronger. Create moments of silence where your mind can rest and recover from the noise of everyday life. Even a few quiet minutes each day can restore clarity and help you reconnect with what truly matters. Remember that your attention is limited. Every minute you spend feeding fear, doubt, or comparison is a minute taken away from building the life you desire. Guard your thoughts carefully, because what repeatedly enters your mind eventually shapes your beliefs and actions. When you learn to protect your energy with wisdom and intention, you naturally become more focused, more peaceful, and more confident. A strong life is not built by reacting to everything around you. It is built by choosing carefully what deserves a place in your heart and mind. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they must become someone else before they are worthy of love, respect, or happiness. They tell themselves, "I'll value myself when I'm more successful. I'll finally be enough when I lose weight." This way of thinking creates an endless cycle because every achievement simply moves the change line farther away. If your self-worth depends on becoming perfect, you will spend your entire life feeling incomplete. True growth begins the moment you accept yourself as you are today, not because you have reached your highest potential, but because you recognize that your value has never depended on your achievements. Acceptance does not mean becoming comfortable with mediocrity or refusing to improve. It means looking honestly at your strengths, your weaknesses, your mistakes, and your scars without allowing them to define your identity. You can acknowledge where you need to grow while still treating yourself with compassion and respect. Your past does not determine your future unless you continue to carry it as your identity. Every mistake holds a lesson, every failure carries wisdom, and every difficult season has the potential to make you stronger. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" begin asking, "What can this experience teach me?" That simple shift transforms pain into growth and regret into resilience. Speak to yourself with the same patience and encouragement you would offer to someone you sign. Replace harsh self-criticism with honest reflection and a commitment to improve. Progress is not made by tearing yourself down. It is made by building yourself down. It is made by building yourself down. It is made by building yourself up. One decision at a time. When you learn to accept yourself while continuing to grow, you stop fighting against who you are and start working with your own potential. Confidence becomes genuine because it is no longer based on perfection. It is rooted in self-awareness, resilience, and the quiet understanding that you are already worthy, even as you continue to become better every single day. Many people fear being alone because they mistake solitude for loneliness. They believe that being surrounded by people automatically brings happiness, while spending time by themselves must mean something is missing. But the truth is often the opposite. A person can feel deeply lonely in a crowded room, while another can sit in complete silence and feel peaceful, fulfilled, and connected to themselves. The difference lies not in the number of people around you, but in the relationship you have with your own mind. Learning to enjoy your own company is one of the greatest signs of self-worth. When you become comfortable being alone, you stop depending on constant attention, approval, or companionship to feel complete. You no longer chase people who repeatedly ignore your efforts or remain in relationships that drain your energy simply because you fear being by yourself. Instead, you begin choosing relationships based on mutual respect, trust, and genuine connection rather than emotional dependence. Solitude creates space for reflection. It allows you to hear your own thoughts without the noise of outside opinions. In those quiet moments, you begin to understand what truly matters to you, what values guide your life, and what kind of person you want to become. Many of life's greatest insights are discovered not in constant activity, but in moments of stillness where the mind has room to breathe. Being comfortable alone also strengthens your independence. You realize that your happiness is not something another person can give or take away. It comes from living in alignment with your values and treating yourself with kindness and keen respect. This inner stability gives you the confidence to walk away from unhealthy situations without fear, because you know your peace is more valuable than temporary comfort. When you build a strong relationship with yourself, every other relationship improves. You love without clinging, support without losing your identity, and connect with others from a place of wholeness rather than need. The person who is at peace alone will never settle for less than they deserve, because they have already discovered that their own company is a place of strength, clarity, and lasting peace. Knowing your worth is not something you announce to the world, it is something you demonstrate through the way you live each day. It is reflected in the choices you make, the boundaries you set, and the standards you refuse to lower. A person who truly values themselves does not need to constantly prove their importance to others because their actions speak louder than their words. They understand that self-respect is built through consistent behavior, not empty declarations. Every day presents opportunities to either strengthen or weaken your sense of self-worth. When you keep promises to yourself, speak honestly, care for your health, and invest time in learning and growing, you reinforce the belief that you deserve a meaningful and fulfilling life. On the other hand, when you repeatedly ignore your own needs, tolerate disrespect, or settle for less than what aligns with your values, you slowly teach yourself that your well-being is negotiable. The habits you practice become the standards by which you live. Living like someone who knows their value also means having the courage to say no. You do not have to accept every invitation, satisfy every expectation, or carry every burden that others place upon you. Protecting your time and energy is not selfish. It is an act of wisdom. Every no to something that drains you creates space for a stronger yes to the people, goals, and experiences that truly enrich your life. There will always be moments when doubt appears or circumstances challenge your confidence. During those times, remember that your value is not determined by temporary failures, criticism, or setbacks. Your worth remains constant, even when life becomes difficult. Continue showing up, continue acting with integrity, and continue treating yourself with the same respect you hope to receive from others. A life built on self-worth is not a life without challenges. It is a life where challenges no longer define your identity. Walk with quiet confidence, remain faithful to your values, and let your daily actions reflect the person you are becoming. When you truly know your value, you stop chasing approval and start living with purpose, strength, and an unshakable sense of inner peace.